Shadoe Stevens was cool. Remember Shadoe Stevens? He was cool. He really was. Shadoe Stevens is cool. His original name was Terry Ingstad. Shadoe Stevens, he was cool. Yeah, that's right. Shadoe Stevens from American Top 40. Remember that? Shadoe Stevens, he was best known as the host of American Top 40 from 1988 to 1995.
Haha, Shadoe Stevens, haha.
Yeah, that guy. Remember him?
Haha. Your best friend, Shadoe Stevens, haha.
Or as he always used to say,
your friend in the void, Shadoe Stevens, haha.
That's right, Shadoe Stevens. And he was always counting down the hits each week after Casey Kasem left in a contract dispute. But I remember always listening to Shadoe Stevens each weekend. Every Sunday night I always used to listen to Shadoe Stevens because he was cool. And I remember, and he was also Fred Rated. Remember Fred Rated from the commercial for Federated Stores? He was the character Fred Rated in the commercial. That was Shadoe Stevens that did those. Remember that? He was always like flying around and having pies thrown in his face and all that stuff. Remember that? They were always hitting him with pies. A pie would always come out of nowhere and go splat, and he would say,
"Uh-oh, that wasn't Boston cream."
So anyway, like the Boston Fern. That's another funny story I'll tell you about sometime of the story about the Boston Fern. But anyway, now I actually met Shadoe Stevens once because he was cool, and this was back in like 1989. Shadoe Stevens went on like some speaking tour or something. He came to Cincinnati, and Q102 sponsored his appearance. There was like some mall over like on the east side of Cincinnati, and Shadoe Stevens was there and gave a big speech. And there was like a whole huge line of people lined up waiting to get his autograph. There was a huge line of people just waiting for him to give them a signed photo of him. And I think I have one. I think I still have mine. I'm sure I still have mine, but it was so I actually still have a personal memento of Shadoe Stevens, one of my favorite broadcasters of the time. So because he was one of my inspirations back when I used to be in the radio business. He was because I was on back when I was on the station at NKU. And I remember talking about him then. I remember talking about him and Casey Kasem. That's right. Casey Kasem, he was cool too. I'm Casey Kasem, counting them down. Up next, it's a song about people scraping dried mucus off the bottom of a table at McDonald's. It's called I Scrape Dried Boogers Off the Bottom of Table at McDonald's by Eric Carmen, a singer out of Cleveland, Ohio. But that was another thing. One thing Shadoe Stevens always used to do. Now I love Shadoe Stevens, But one thing he always used to do that annoyed everybody, he always used to refer to albums as CDs. And this was like in like 1988. He referred to albums, like record albums, as CDs, even though nobody in 1988 had a CD player. I mean, how many people in that era had a CD player? Like, nobody. We're talking like 1988. Who? Nobody had a CD player back then. And another thing, this is something else funny. I remember American Top 40 got that new set of, jingles and bumpers while Shadoe Stevens was in charge. And I remember one of them went, hey, American Top 40. Remember that? There's one of them that went, hey, American Top 40. And I remember listening to that, to American Top 40, that jingle would come on. So I would go up to the register in the den, and I would yell, hey, like that. And my mom would be sleeping in the other room, and it woke her up. It came through the register, and it woke her up, and she came into the den saying, Tim, you woke me up by doing that. I swear, Tim, I am not going to let you listen to the radio anymore if you keep doing that. And my mom complained to the school about it for some reason, because I was like in high school at the time. And my mom complained. My mom told one of my teachers, you know what Tim did the other day? he yelled, hey, through the register and woke me up. Because there was that, and there was the hits with the Shadoe. Remember that? But I remember doing that. Hey, American Top 40. I did that in the register. I went, hey, just like that. Hey, and that was when they always had New Kids on the Block records in the top 40. They did. There was a whole bunch of New Kids on the Block. There's a whole bunch of songs by New Kids on the Block in the top 40 back then. There were. Remember them? But that was New Kids on the Block, and another one was what was the name of the singing group that had that song that went la la? Remember that? It wasn't New Kids on the Block, but it was it went la la, la la. It wasn't I'm not talking about I don't mean ooh la la da, and I don't mean that song. I mean the other ooh la la. Remember that? Remember that song? It was actually a big hit like around like 1990. But that was that's the story of
Shadoe Stevens. Ha 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 ha.
And he always called everybody. He always said,
okay, muchachos.
And he was always saying muchachos after everything. Remember that? Because he was cool. Shadoe Stevens.